What is going on with Charles Leclerc? Although they do love him, the Tifosi must be getting tired of the disappointment at this point. Leclerc is capable of great things, that much is clear, but given their current situation, the future doesn't look too good for Ferrari. So, is the team or the driver to blame? You clicked on the right video to find out. Charles Leclerc had quite a rough weekend at Zandvoort, and weekends like these don't really help in boosting his reputation as a top-tier driver in the elite category. Leclerc's retirement at the Dutch Grand Prix signalled the end of a truly catastrophic weekend, especially within his team's area. Ferrari grappled with speed issues and braking struggles all through the event. Although Leclerc has faced his own share of bad luck during his time with Ferrari, the Zandvoort experience might just be the most glaring instance of a driver veering off track and not fully tapping into his true capabilities. Leclerc's race took a hit right from the start due to a tussle with Oscar Piastri on the first lap. During this encounter, Leclerc's car experienced a slight oversteer as both drivers were racing side by side. This contact resulted in damage to the end plate of Leclerc's car, but there was no immediate call to pit and change the wing, despite the damage. This didn't stop Leclerc from opting to pit only a few seconds later, a choice he independently arrived at. With the weather shifting swiftly from dry to wet, Leclerc, along with Pierre Gasly and Sergio Perez, among other leading drivers, chose to make a pit stop due to the rapidly changing conditions. The effectiveness of Leclerc's decision was undermined by Ferrari's unpreparedness. Unfortunately, this wasn't the first instance where Ferrari faced issues during a pit stop. On this occasion, the team hadn't readied the tyres in advance, causing precious seconds to slip away as the mechanics hurried to locate the intermediate tyres. As a result, he dropped to the 17th position, but he swiftly made his way back up the ranks, reaching as high as 5th thanks to other drivers making pit stops. This impressive recovery compensated for his earlier pit stop, the one that happened without adequate preparation from his mechanics. Ferrari team principal Frédéric Vasseur came to Leclerc's defense after the race, telling the media that, "I think that the first stop from Charles looks a bit strange from the outside, but it was a very good call from him. It was a very late call because he was in the pit lane when he told us. But, in the end, even if he lost perhaps 7 or 8 seconds in the pit lane, it was a good one." If you have a look, Pierre Gasly also had a good step forward with this kind of call, but it was a good choice to stop on lap 1. They, the drivers, all saw the rain before us because it was into the last corner and he decided to pit. It was a very late call, but again, I think it was the right decision because after the pit stop, he was in a much better position than before. Even with the 6-7 seconds that we lost into the pit lane, it was a good call on that. If you are 10 seconds behind or 5 seconds behind when you do the call, it's much easier. I don't have to complain about this. It was the right call. Although Leclerc's timing for the pit stop was spot on, both Perez and Gasly showed that executing the switch could be flawless. This situation made it obvious that there was either a potential operation oversight on Ferrari's part or a deficiency in Leclerc's preparation and communication. Vasseur's support of Leclerc implies that he's content with Ferrari bearing the responsibility for this issue. For now, at least. The situation only got worse as Leclerc started losing positions quickly. This was highlighted by a moment where he skidded across the gravel while adapting to the intermediate tyres. The earlier damage to the front wing was beginning to have noticeable consequences. Vasseur clarified that it wasn't just a matter of the front wing end plate being affected. The incident had actually inflicted damage to the car's floor. He damaged the right end plate, and the end plate went into the floor and damaged the bottom of the floor. What's concerning about Leclerc's disappointing weekend isn't just the fact that things didn't go well for him. It's more about us getting used to things turning out this way for the Monegasque driver. In the initial stages of his Ferrari journey, Leclerc gained considerable popularity as he often committed similar mistakes, becoming known as a driver that either does it all or nothing at all. This earned him the favour of many fans as he openly criticised himself, calling his actions stupid and making promises to recover and grow from his blunders. But those mistakes have never truly disappeared. Even equipped with the fastest car in the early part of 2022, Leclerc came close to crashing out of the Imola race and was fortunate to salvage a 6th place result. But the incident that had a more significant impact was his self-inflicted error while leading at the French Grand Prix. In his pursuit to stay ahead of Verstappen during the pit sequence, he made an unforced error that proved to be detrimental. Since then, witnessing a Ferrari ending up in the gravel or against the wall has become rather expected. It happens too often for it to come as a surprise. The Leclerc criticism rose up quickly at that point, with Jenson Button saying that he is every bit as quick as everyone else, if not the fastest driver out there in terms of raw pace, but he doesn't seem to know where the limit is. Leclerc went through a relatively tame middle phase of the season, avoiding major incidents in several races and making a strong comeback to the podium with an impressive performance at Spa-Francorchamps. But his series of errors at Zandvoort erased much of his previous progress. Amid challenging wet conditions, both drivers faced difficulties in slowing down the car, but it was Leclerc who, under pressure once again, unfortunately collided with the wall, a classic case of history repeating itself. After qualifying, he confessed to the media that it's one of those weekends where the car is extremely difficult to drive. Turns 9/10 is one of those corners where you go into the corner, you are releasing the brake and there's absolutely no grip in mid-corner for whatever reason. Then you're just trusting the car gripping again in the exit, which it didn't on that lap, and I obviously ended up in the wall. It's just a car this weekend that is extremely difficult to drive. In Formula One, it's all about anticipating and knowing what balance you're going to get once you get into the corner. But at the moment, I'm getting into the corner and I have zero idea whether I'm going to have a huge understeer or huge oversteer. That makes it very, very difficult for us. While some drivers might be more cautious to avoid collisions, Leclerc seems to be taking the opposite approach, putting his trust in his car's grip and pushing the boundaries, even in areas where he acknowledges grip has been lacking before. Whether this is seen as reckless or commendable is open to debate. Lesser-known drivers would likely face severe criticism for such behavior. Ferrari hasn't yet expressed major concern about these errors, but crashes can directly affect team expenditure in the era of the budget cap. In his 6th season in Formula One, Leclerc hasn't shown an upward trajectory. While he might have been overly critical of himself during his initial years, it appears that he has swung to the opposite end now and is not holding himself to the same level of accountability as before. While it's true that Ferrari has faced challenges, particularly with their performance, the shortcomings of the Dutch Grand Prix can be attributed more to Leclerc himself than to the team's overall performance. To make things worse for the Monegasque driver, Carlos Sainz has proven to be the more dependable driver between the two. While Leclerc enjoyed a noticeable edge over Sainz when the car's performance was optimal, Sainz seems to possess a stronger grasp on things when circumstances are more challenging. Leclerc might be capable of achieving remarkable successes at times, but those moments of brilliance tend to diminish when the car's performance becomes more demanding. A considerable portion of this underperformance might indeed be attributed to frustration. Witnessing his peer Max Verstappen achieve a series of victories and championship titles, it's likely that Leclerc experiences a sense of disappointment, even if he maintains a positive personal rapport with Max. As a competitive athlete, Leclerc might be feeling left behind in the face of Verstappen's successes. While the car's performance might not be at the top of the grid, Leclerc is struggling to firmly establish himself as the elite talent that his inherent potential implies. So, where does Charles Leclerc go from here? Should Ferrari keep on giving him chances, or should they start demanding more greatness from him, as he's proven to be capable of before? Tell us what you would do if you were his boss in the comments section down below. And, as always, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Thanks for watching.